Hey Lacrosse fans, my name is Olivia Becker. I'm joined by Patrick Strawn, and we are here for another Lacrosse recap. The Flames went on the road for 2 games this past week against Clemson and ECU, and just talk a little bit how those went.
Yeah, it was 2 wins for the Flames on the road because they first took on the Pirates of ECU, and obviously I think they probably, if you ask the coaches, they did everything right. I mean, when you're able to kind of in your first road game smack the opposition 21-1, I don't think there's too many things that you're going to be complaining about that your team did executing wise. So good for them, and it was another game just like the UCF game where they could test out their depth a little bit and then get other lines rolling to see what they might have in the tank, and also look as far as just in case someone gets injured, they can put in that mentality of the next man up and see what the game situations. The Clemson game was a little bit of a different story, but Flames are still able to come away with a win in that matchup, and that's a good thing because obviously we talked about those SCLC games, how they're important, and Clemson could be a team they face in the SCLC tournament, but even also what's more important about that matchup is the fact that they were able to come away with a win against their first-ranked opponent.
And you talked a little bit about Clemson, but they were the first-ranked team that Liberty has beat this season. So talk a little bit more about their game against them.
I think it was just important to get that first-ranked win because obviously when we did the preview earlier this year, we talked about how the Flames are going to face 9 teams currently sitting in that top 30, but even a couple more teams now have jumped up into that category of not just being ranked in the top 25, but those teams receiving votes. West Virginia is now in the mix in that group too, so that puts 10 of their 14 game schedule of teams that are either in the top 25 or receiving votes. So I mean, obviously, we talked about how good the attack of the Clemson Tigers is for them, and also how they have some of the best attackmen in the SCLC. So the fact that Flames defense was able to come out in a big way, not only hold them down and allow only 8 goals, and then your attack was able to get things rolling and on the offensive side, not really allow Clemson to get into the game, and then also you were able to just continue to really win each quarter. I think that's just big for them, and it'll build a lot of confidence, especially when you're able to beat a quality opponent such as the Tigers on the road. That'll be huge for them down the season.
And with Clemson being a quality team, Liberty's team is pretty well-rounded this year. They got some new players in, so just talk some about the team this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, we talked about one of the big things that the Flames were hoping to be able to have this year was continue with their balanced type of team and also make more of the attack a little bit balanced, and so it's not the same 5 guys that it was last year for this Flames club, and I think that's been what they've been able to do. I mean, we've seen it in the first 3 games. The defense has really been strong. I mean, obviously headlined by 3 key returners and McKeever, White, and also Keene. They've really manned things, but then some of the newcomers, they've come in and done an excellent job for them and stepping into some big roles, some defensive middies as well, and then obviously the big guys, they've been rolling. I mean, we know how good Wright is. We know how good Esch is. We know how good Carter Elliott is when he does return to the lineup, and then also Britton and Gregory, but then some new guys that have come in and have been solid for them. We talked about Nichols, and we talked about O'Connor, we talked about Cameron Carter, and we talked about Thomas Bennell. I mean, just those 4 guys helping out in the midfield and the attack range for the Flame really does now give them a balanced unit up front, especially on the offensive end. And really, it's not just one guy they can lean on for a game. It could be multiple guys that really could step up. And obviously, when you're able to have that kind of depth up front and that many guys that are able to not only contribute, whether it's either making a play with the right assist or putting the ball in the back of the net, that's going to bode well for them too, especially as we just touched on their tough schedule this year.
And this Saturday, they take on UConn. What do you think they can expect going into this game?
Well, as Kyle McQuillan said, this is a game that got circled on the calendar. I mean, 2 years in a row, you're able to get up on the Huskies, and then you kind of let them hang around a little bit, and then they find a way to be able to take the game from you. I mean, the Huskies snapped the Flames' winning streak that they had here at home, streak that ended at 26, and then they beat them at the Battle of Baltimore. So, I mean, for the Flames, I think this is a game they're looking at, we can get a little payback now and try to really show and kind of keep the strong start to the season that we've been able to have. And I expect for the Flames to kind of showcase that attack that we've been seeing them have all year and also lock things down defensively. But, I mean, it's not going to be an easy game. Obviously, the Huskies, they've shown that doesn't matter where we play you. They've had the Flames number the last 2 times. So the Flames don't play discipline and also play with a sense of urgency and continue to not get into that lull we see them sometimes start the second half out with, then the Huskies could come back and be able to take a game away from them. But it should be a good matchup between these two teams that are very good quality lacrosse clubs.
Great. Well, Pat, thank you for your insight. Make sure you guys tune in to all of our social media to see updates on the games and throughout the week. For Patrick Strawn, I'm Olivia Becker.